Walter Ufer was born in 1876 and grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, the son of a master gunsmith. His artistic endeavors received support from his parents and teachers, and after an apprenticeship in the printing plant of a Louisville commercial lithographer, Ufer traveled to Dresden, Germany to study at the Royal Applied Art School and the Royal Academy. After 7 years spent abroad, during which he met J.H. Sharp and Ernest Blumenschein, Ufer moved to Chicago, where he found a powerful benefactor in Carter Harrison, the mayor. Harrison, along with his friend and partner, the meat-packing tycoon Oscar Mayer. Ufer visited Taos on a painting trip in 1914, arranged by Carter Harrison. And as with most artists of the area who came in contact with Taos, Walter Ufer was smitten from the start. Landscapes was of interest, but for Ufer, it was the Taos Indians. They served as the subject of his fascination more than anything else. His approach to the Indians was slightly different than many of his contemporaries. Ufer was a strong supporter of individual freedom and a devout socialist and friend of Leon Trotsky. He saw the Pueblo Indians as having been oppressed for centuries in such a manner as to stomp out their racial and cultural identity. Ufer said, "The Indian has lost his race pride. He wants only to be an American. Our civilization has terrific power. We don't feel it, but that man out there in the mountains feels it, and he cannot cope with such pressure." These feelings of anger and despair were continued themes in Ufer's work. He joined many picket lines and protesters by labor groups, and during the flu pandemic of 1918-1919, which killed over 500,000 Americans and a disproportionate amount of Pueblo Indians, he worked tirelessly to assist the only doctor in Taos in training the ill. Some degree of despair associated with the compassion was probably psychiatric. An alcoholic and a depressive, Ufer suffered from many crippling episodes of desolation. When suffering, he was moody and unproductive, and his entire body of work is a product of his better days, as drinking and gambling occupied him during his dark spells. Despite all that, he sold large amounts of work during the 1920s and achieved a fairly high profile. Warm and personable, he had many friends whose friendship he would occasionally abuse by borrowing money and failing to pay it back. Aside from a disastrous experience in 1923, on the urging of his agent, failed to sell a lot of paintings that all featured the same Indian on a white horse against a background of Taos Mountain. He was generally successful until the stock market crash of 1929. Destitution did not sit well with Walter Ufer, and he succumbed entirely to alcoholism. Walter Ufer's paintings have become some of the most valuable of all the Taos Society artists, his major works consistently topping $1 million at auction. His paintings are in the permanent collections of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Art Institute of Chicago, the Brooklyn Museum, and the Corcoran Gallery in Washington, D.C.